So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Divine Rebel. My name is Racey, and I'm going to be giving the readings for you today. These were readings that I do for the moon events that are paid for in advance. So if you did pay for it in advance and get your secret code name, then you know which reading is yours specifically. For those of you who did not get a reading but are drawn to or resonate to one of the secret code names, there may just be a message in there for you. Okay, so take it how it resonates. I have no filter, guys, for those of you who are new to the channel, so anything can come out of my mouth. Timestamps will be in the replay, in the comments or description, you know what I mean. So, with that said, while you guys are finding me in here, let me share this out to my Facebook family. For you guys that are interested in these readings, you can find all my information and stuff in the description. You can find me on Facebook at Divine Rebel or through my email. You can always email me. So let's see, let's get this shared out. We are doing Rebirthing the Self readings for this full moon in Scorpio. How about that moon, huh? How about that moon energy, huh? Oh, full moon in Scorpios, man. They get us going really deep within the self, and we always come out a little bit different. Yeah, we always come out a little bit different, and it's always for the better. You know, it is. It's always for the better in hindsight. Scorpionic energy is really healing and transformational, to say the least. All right. And share this out to the intention candle group. Awesome. Candles are doing great, by the way, for those of you who got intention candles. They are just fired away. They're just fired away. So, before I get into the actual readings, the code names for tonight are Dove of Peace, the Thorned Blue Rose, Starshine, Eternal Gratitude, Fireworks and Flare, Stay Wild Moonchild, Violet Rays, Sunlit Creek, Blow the Speakers, Rising from the Flames, Frog Spirit, Don't Fear the Reaper, and Skylark. All right, so those are the secret code names for tonight. Dove of Peace, the Thorned Blue Rose, Starshine, Eternal Gratitude, Fireworks and Flare, Stay Wild Moonchild, Violet Rays, Sunlit Creek, Below the Speakers, Rising from the Flames, Frog Spirit, Don't Fear the Reaper, and Skylark. All right, so if one of those names jump out at you, there's probably a message for you. All right, and they will be in the comments and the description after the fact. I have 3 decks today for these readings because we are going through a transformation. So I pulled my archetype cards, the Wild Unknown series by Kim Kranz. All right, so I'm going to be pulling those as to give you an idea of the self that you're birthing into. Okay, the archetypal self that you're birthing into and or learning to value and appreciate, all right, within yourself, because we all hold all of these archetypes. It's just a matter of which one are you moving into and what purpose does it serve for you to know this in advance. We're also going to be using my Hermetic Tarot to give you some insight onto what that actual process here in the 3D would look like. And I'm going to pull a Power of Love card, which I use as my Remember deck, to help you with something to remember as you're going through the transition, right? This transformation into your new, rising, rebirthed self, right? Version 2.0 or 3.0 or 6.0, 11.0, right? Whatever version of ourself that we're improving on. So I'm just going to these cards are a little odd to shuffle. So I'm just going to shuffle until a card catches my attention. I'll feel it. It won't let me keep going. But we're going to start with Dove of Peace. So we're going to start at the 4-minute and 30-second mark for codename Dove of Peace. All right, so here we go. What archetypal energy are you birthing into? Codename Dove of Peace and those who would resonate to it. What archetypal energy are you birthing into? Spirit, please. for this full moon in Scorpio. I got a lot of Scorpio in my chart, let me tell you. It's this one. All right. We got the empty room. I believe in Roman numerals that is card 42. 42. 42 is a number of support, higher support, to bring you into balance, to understand the vibration of unconditional love, just numerically speaking, right? You have support, angelic support, helping to bring you into balance within the self so that you can realize the vibration of unconditional love. All right. So let's crack it. Let's crack it open. I'm going to read just from the book some for you. The empty room. The vortex, the abyss, the nothing. The empty room haunts us all. It is the universal and the all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. We are too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential, yet we perceive it as not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting. Guys, if let me know if that just messed up the feed. Let me know if I'm skipping or glitching or if the volume's okay. Phone call just tried to come in. It says, this card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting true vision and purpose before attaching to what we should do next to save our outward appearance. Be with the nothingness. Be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Let others wonder what you are doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. The light attributes of the empty room is spaciousness, potential, and possibility within the self. The dark side is addictions, instability, and more for more's sake. Okay. This could quite literally be a lot to do with clutter, right? If you need to actually empty a room, which, as above and so below, also means that you are emptying the self, emptying what you're attached to, getting back down to the actual structure of yourself, admiring the structure of yourself, realizing it's not what you put in it, but what you're made of, right? But what you're actually made of. When you take all the little things away from the self, like the labels or the clothes or the decor, like whatever it is about yourself that you take away to get really appreciative of the actual structure of yourself, you get back to the bare bones of what it is that you define yourself to be, your structure. So what does this look like in the 3D? Spirit, please. What does this look like in the 3D? Secret code name Dove of Peace. And I do feel like you have angelic support. Like, call in your archangels. They're helping you with this. Anytime we get energy like that, that's it. That is a deep transformation. It's the kind of stuff a Scorpio full moon hits on, especially if you're like Scorpio rising or a Scorpio moon. I mean, Scorpio suns feel it, but moons are about the hardest part of ourselves that we need to embrace. Part of ourselves we shove in the dark, right? The empty room. Alright, so we got the Judgment card. What else, Spirit? What else? Secret code name, Dove of Peace. Give me one more. Got the Hierophant reversed. Alright, two more. Okay. The Hierophant reverse, I feel like you do need to let go of an attachment, whether it's to a person or things. Letting go of a person in your mind, you know. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Swords. The truth is the truth. Top of the deck is the Five of Swords, which means you might actually want to argue with someone. You might actually want to accuse someone. You might actually want to verbally have that conflicting conversation. Okay, you might feel some kind of anger under there. It's kind of just what I'm picking up on, all right? You might just feel some kind of anger under there, but you're not angry. You're not angry for the reason that you think you are. There are so many other things or other people that are filling up your space in your heart or your mind that you're attached to. It's almost like you want them to fill the room. You want them to fill the room. You want them to take up space, but they're not meant to. You're meant to empty the room. You know, you're not meant to have those attachments the way you have them. And so you might feel conflicted, like you want to yell and cry at someone. But the truth is, this is about you resurrecting yourself. This is about you releasing those commitments and getting in touch with the beauty of your ability to create every moment in your life and knowing that it's your responsibility and no one else's. With the Nine of Wands and the Chariot, this is about being on your last leg with something, and it serves divine movement. There's Scorpionic energy on the cards, Taurian energy on the cards, Sagittarian and Cancerian energy on the cards, and a lot of air. And I'm feeling like you might need to start creating new memories, like moving forward and creating new memories that are self-driven, self-fulfilling, instead of having others kind of come to you with their life. Really start prioritizing what you want to do with your own, okay? What you want to do with your own. Because otherwise I feel like you're going to be at your wit's end and the divine's going to intervene with the Chariot card. If you don't allow yourself to make the decisions for yourself that you know you need to make in order to achieve that inner peace, the divine's going to intervene to make sure that you move forward. I mean, we have 3 major arcana here. This full moon is about releasing your attachments to people and things and situations outside of yourself to make you happy, or to take the burden of your empty room, fear, off of you. It's not anybody's job to fill the empty room of the self besides your own. If there's a part of you that's not happy or is angry with others or disappointed in others or judging others or wanting to scream and cry, because that's the kind of energy it feels like. It feels like one of those moments where you're just screaming out and crying in your anger, but it's because you love them and you want to feel that, but that's not actually what life is about. It's about knowing everybody has time, place. Like, everybody has time, place. Everybody has purpose. And it's the letting go part. It's the letting go part that really needs to be released, because it's building up and it's cluttering the room. This is about you really finding yourself. So Spirit, please, what do you want Dove of Peace to remember moving forward through this transition, this self-transformation? Empathy. You feel and understand the emotions of another in the service of love. You know it's the way I'm getting it. You know how important it is for people to feel good. You're an empath. That's why we go out of our way to help people feel good, to help heal them. Likewise, if you're helping other people heal to what they desire, you have to allow yourself to heal to what you desire. And if you find yourself in a place of envy or wishing, or you find yourself trying to convince yourself of something in your thoughts, be aware what is free for the soul does not need convincing. Sometimes what the soul needs, we know it, and we do want to kick and scream at ourselves because we don't want to, because we're afraid of what letting go of that self, the crowded room, felt like, and getting back to the innocent self that believed the empty room was beautiful because it was new when we first saw it. All right. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps for those of you who are drawn to that message. All right. All right. That's a task, man. Emptying out the emotional baggage in our closet. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, emptying out the stuff back there and getting back to our real selves and what we believed in. You know, that childhood like wonder. It's definitely a feat. All right. Second reading is the secret code name, the Thorned Blue Rose. So for those of you who resonated to that reading, this one is for you. All right. Archetype cards. Here we go, Spirit. Secret code name, Blue Thorn Rose. We're going to start that at 18 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm writing down my timestamps and hoping they're okay by the end. All right, the Thorned Blue Rose. Here we go. Secret code name, the Thorned Blue Rose. Spirit, please. What card above all other cards? The Queen. We got the Queen. Card number 10. 9. The Queen. Card number 9. Really look at the full moon on that card. All right. The Queen archetypal energy, right? What you're birthing yourself into and what you need to best understand about it, okay, as you go into it. Totally card number 11. My bad. My Roman numerals aren't great. Here we go. The Queen is the Empress, the Mother Queen, the Sovereign. Like her counterpart, the King, the Queen has a dualistic nature. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She is the lotus's bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and goddess to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. When you're in the light of the archetypal queen, you embody grace, courage, resolve, and stillness. And when in the shadow, you can be vain, wrathful, self-righteous, or demanding. So this is the archetypal energy that you're moving into. This is allowing yourself not to be, because when we talk about the ego and the expression of the ego is not necessarily a bad thing. The ego has a dualistic nature too. It's light and dark. Your ego is your character. It's how you define yourself. It's your profession. It's what you do for others. It's how you carry yourself in your clothing and your car and things like that, you know? But it's also the part of us that wants instant gratification. It's also the part of us that compares ourselves to others. It's also the part of us that doesn't trust that what we deserve is coming. And so we try to make what we deserve happen and fail, and then we wonder why we haven't stepped into this benevolent, receptive energy of the queen, which doesn't have to actually strive or fight for anything. The universe is in service to her in her heart space. It's a matter of recognizing the power and the beauty of that heart space and holding it in high regard, right? And holding it in high regard. So you're moving into this energy and being the 11. I mean, it is a number of self-mastery. Shining full light, right? Full light on the shadows. And allowing who you are as the queen and how you hold yourself accent the partner you see yourself with, how you support that energy, right? How you support that energy. It's a matter of what you give and how you carry yourself through it. What does this look like in the 3D, please, Spirit? For the Thorned blue rose. You know, and it is also a lot about, because I'm thinking about the synchronicities with the code name. You know, this is about protecting yourself, like having your thorns, being able to protect yourself if someone tries to grab you and claim you and pull you from your natural state of self. It's going to hurt them. They're not going to like it. You know, blue is the color of truth. It's the color of the throat chakra. It's what we choose to create. You know, letting people know something that, you know, is not wanted or not appreciated with respect for self and how you carry out that message says a lot. And that's where you're getting, that's where you're heading. That's what you're getting into. So Spirit, please, how does this unfold? Insights on this transformation. Ace of Wands. The Justice card, again, 11. Really, a 1. So we've got 11, 1, 11. Give me one more, Spirit. What else? Really? And I started you with... And the Chariot. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the 10 of Pentacles. Top of the deck is the 7 of Wands. Okay. You want the 10 of coins, right? The 10 of Pentacles coming in. This is the happy, healthy, stable, dream, the relationship that works, the family that you always wanted. You know, this is the nice house with the nice things, and the things that comfort you, right? Not just the things, but the people, like feeling comfort. And this is knowing that you might have to defend yourself a bit to get there. Not in a, you know, the heart abrasive way, but really defend your value by defining it in your actions and your every movement, right? The Ace of Wands with the Justice card and the Chariot. This is a new beginning for you. This is a new time for you, a time for you to balance out your karma when it comes to love, right? With this Venusian energy with the Justice card, it's a Libra card. Also Saturn very present on the card. And it's understanding that the universe is moving you forward, the Chariot, like divine miracle. If you don't settle for less than your king, you will have mastered your queen energy, right? Knowing that you are someone's perfect complement, but also that they are yours. You know, you can't be a queen ruling a kingdom without a proper king. You know, not just anybody can be king. I mean, kings go through a plethora of challenges and having to earn their place on the throne, proving themselves, you know what I mean, in battle to whoever their predecessor was, that not only are they willing to fight for it, but that they're worthy, right? But that they're worthy. They have the right head on their shoulders. They have the greater good of their dynamic with you in mind. So this is understanding that, and you're going to be moving through that. You're going to be given this opportunity to truly come to your own defense when it comes to what you really want, the life that you want to live with the partner you want to have, and knowing that there's no settling, no matter how many jesters, knights, whatever walks by you, you know, gawking at the queen, like, I want a chance at the queen. It's like, well, are you coming as a king though? Because clothes isn't going to cut it. You know what I mean? They're either going to check off all the boxes over time, or they're going to just check off all the boxes right from the gate. But either way, they got to prove that they could check off all them boxes. They got to be willing to fight for it. They got to be willing to serve it. They got to have its highest good at heart. They have to let no harm ever want to come to the queen, right? Ever. She has the heart of the people. She's the light of their life. You know, they can't let anything happen to her. So you're moving into queen energy. What does Spirit want you to remember? Creativity. Love to devise new ideas, innovations, and forms of illumination. This is sacral chakra healing. Okay, creativity and the sacral chakra go hand in hand. There's also obviously a lot of crown, third eye, you know, throat chakra, like upper tier energy going on with this. This is your feminine energy being allowed to move, being allowed to rule. You know, feminine, receptive energy, yin energy isn't about going after something. It's about holding still in your energy, holding that vibration and allowing what is correct to come correct to you. Or you're just not going to let it pass. Sorry, you do not pass go. You do not collect $200. It's like, you know, and this is getting creative with yourself and what you're doing with your time and your energy. All right. Have fun. Creativity and fun go hand in hand. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then what are you doing it for? Enjoy what you're doing, right? So I hope that helps. For codename, the Thorned Blue Rose. You stand your ground. You stand your ground. Know your worth and know your value and hold yourself in high esteem, respectable esteem, because you're not just any queen. You're an honored and loved queen. You're not petty. You're not arrogant. You simply understand what you bring to the table of a royal relationship, you know. There's no petty life game we're playing, you know. This is real. So with that said, next reading is Starshine. We're going to start that at the 30-minute mark. Codename card Starshine. All right, codename Starshine. Let me see if I can even shuffle these. We almost got there. All right, Spirit. Codename Starshine. What archetypal energy are they birthing into? What do they need to understand about it? For codename Starshine. Where do I take that? Interesting. The kiss and the crone. The kiss and the crone. All right. Card number 60 and card number 13. Let's get into that. Kiss first. So that was the first one that came out. The touch, the chemistry, the sex is the kiss. Before a first kiss, the air is electrified. Each breath is alive with possibility and magic. What will their lips be like? Their tongue? Do they want me in return? The archetypal energy of the kiss is a heightened sensation of merging with other, of letting in what was moments ago separate. The two become one. It is risky but beautiful business. These moments forever change us as we move past the solitary self toward union and acceptance. This card suggests true intimacy is around the corner, which requires bravery and surrender. When the kiss takes a non-human form, it may be experienced as touching sacredness, hearing a whisper, or being graced by a divine being. You will recognize the presence of the kiss by cold chills and an awakening of the heart. We get this energy. Those of you in the twin flame journey, you know what this feeling is like when you first meet your twin. You feel that crazy energy as if you're about to kiss the love of your life for the first time, and it's like the furthest thing from your mind because you just met them, you know what I mean? But it's that same goosebump butterflies feeling. It's knowing that something really good is coming, right? Knowing that something really good is coming. I think if you get that feeling around someone else, it's a key reminder to remember this energy, okay, of the crone. So be aware of that. I think Spirit guided this card out to give you an actual signifier of when this energy is important for you to remember, because you can't forget that feeling. You will know when it happens, and you will remember this card, okay? And you will remember this card, the crone, card number 13, okay? Card number 13. Scorpionic number to a T. The crone, the witch, the old woman, the sage. The crone has seen it all. Nothing frightens or surprises her. She is the final manifestation of the feminine trifecta of maiden, mother, crone. In her long life, she's witnessed endless cycles of death, sex, failure, rebirth, conflict, and regeneration, giving her the ability to rise above the world of duality. She laughs at notions of good or bad, right or wrong, as she has seen the earth churning, smoldering, taking life and giving life. The crone energy accepts everything in, devouring beauty and suffering with the same mouth, using their energy to reveal hidden secrets and knowledge. Her energy resides in all of us. Though it is feared by most for its power and unconventional relationship with death and the macabre, awakening the crone is dangerously rich and unapologetically magic. In the light attributes of the crone, you are magic, clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive, and wise. In the shadow, vindictive, bitter, isolated, or ostracized. Now, let's talk about this card. Everybody we meet triggers us into our light self, our caring and considerate, I want to love you more self, or they trigger us into I need space, I need to be on my own, I need to do my own thing energy, because they're smothering, right? The light smothers, and so we show our dark side, the part that people don't like so much when they call us selfish or whatever. Inconsiderate, cold-hearted. This is understanding that the people that you meet are either going to bring out your best self and possibly burn you if you let them burn you, or you're going to be the one that burns. Is the nutshell wisdom of the crone, which is why she can laugh at how it works, because instead of giving someone your all and being the bitter, angry person after, which those energies, you know, that would receive that love and revel in, they feed off the fact that, you know, you're hurt because you love them so much or care about them so much, but they don't care about themselves. The minute you realize crone energy, that that's the dynamic and what's going on, you can stop giving a shit, in the sense that you're buying into it and continuing it to feel that way. Like, you know what? I recognize that dynamic, don't I? This is just draining me, right? This is that me light and shine in their shadows moment, right? Okay. Time to flip back into my light. My light. Shine a little shadow in their darkness. Shine a little light in their shadow. You guys know what I meant. But that's what this is. This is not taking anything personal. And when other people spoil you with their light because you're triggering it in them, right? You're triggering their light. You're not necessarily interested in them, but you're triggering their light. You're triggering their ability to give. You're triggering their need or want to take care of you and love you, and you're not interested. Likewise, it's knowing that it's okay to be perceived as the bitch or the villain because you're setting them free. You're setting them free. It's not like you're calling them an asshole when it's not earned. It's like, listen, I'm just not interested in you at all. Like, can't be any more clear with you. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to use you. I'm not interested. Being super blunt, right? Like super blunt, like you don't get it. And letting them loose. And they could maybe think you're an asshole or whatever, and you could have said it nicer, but fact of the matter is you just cut them real quick and was kind of painless unless they want to face their shadows, right? It's knowing how you play a role in the teaching, because when you don't allow someone who is feeding off your light to feed anymore, and you're not angry about it and you just don't care and you just shut them off and ghost them or block them or whatever, and you just don't care, there's no rant, there's no tirade or 3 months on an ice cream and liquor binge, you know, watching your old favorite series. There's none of that. It's like, okay, moved on, next thing, next date, next job, whatever it is. Whatever it is, you don't go chasing anything, right? You don't go chasing anything, and you revel in the beauty of the grace and the pain that is life, right? Understanding the need for both. So you know, when you get that feeling, when you get that feeling like the kiss, when those electric butterflies, just know you're being thrown into a dynamic where either you are the light to shine in someone else's shadow so that they can start to heal themselves, or you are with a light in their own right, authentic, who is shining really bright to let you see your own shadows, right? Whoever brings out the best in us, I guarantee you there's a certain part, they're in their light. They're in their light, which is why they are perceived as the darkness. It's because it's our darkness. We projected at them. Okay? So what does this look like? Three of Wands. What else? This is codename Starshine. That's a chunk. We'll leave that. Yeah. Three of Wands, Three of Swords, and the Five of Swords in reversed. Underneath is the Knight of Swords. Top is the Knight of Coin. You see, the truth is what's got to fly. It's not about being overly cautious. It's not about being overly cautious. It's about being overly honest. Overly honest. Whether the person who is doomed to reject the love they deserve from you, or it's the person that is doomed to be rejected by you. It doesn't matter. All that matters is you're honest. If someone deserves it and they don't know they deserve it, well, then they deserve it. And when time comes to be honest and real with them, to let them know they fucking blew a good thing and they need to get over their fucking shit, then you do that. Then you do that. Likewise, if someone's wonderful, you tell them that. You're just not for them. It's just not going to happen. It's about moving on, breaking hearts, healing, not getting in arguments. Five of Swords in the reverse, it's not about arguing with people. It's just about straight truth. And if you got to be the heartbreaker or the heartbroken, it's rejoicing in the fact that you're learning from both. Knowing you're getting where you need to go. One step at a time. No matter how many hearts got to break or how many times your heart's got to get broken. You keep moving forward. Three of Wands. Keep moving forward. You establish that strength within yourself through the sorrow, whether it's your own or someone else's. This is seeing the duality of dynamic, right? The duality of dynamic. Greater understanding of relationship dynamic and why we manifest certain people. Sometimes we don't manifest them for us, we manifest for them. The healing in some way, the wisdom that we have helps the others in some way. So what do you need to remember through this process? What Spirit wants you to remember? Yeah. Individuality. Straight up. This is your starshine, right? Your spirit, your spark. Leave your unique stamp of love on everything that you do. Leave that honest stamp on everything that you do. Leave that truth stamp on everything that you do. Because you're not ungrateful for the people that are kind to you. You're just not interested. You know, if that's the case. Same goes for people that you're attracted to. If you want to love them despite their dickishness or bitchiness or whatever, then you do that. And when you've had enough, then you've had enough. You tap out, be like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta move on. It's not something to argue about. I don't feel bad about it. Don't want you to feel bad about it. I just know when my time is done. Why am I holding on to it any longer and hurting myself any longer? It's time for me to go. You got all the love you deserved from me. I don't have to keep giving you more just because I gave you some already. Your fault you didn't reciprocate it. You know what I mean? It's your fault you didn't reciprocate it and give it back to me. What do you want me to do? I gotta go. It's called learn to love back. It's called reciprocity. Like, learn. You're teaching people. You're a crone energy. This is what you're moving into. So when you get those butterflies, it's like that song Graveyard by Halsey. Sometimes the butterflies are your detriment, and you have to be aware of that. And when other people get those butterflies for you, sometimes it's their detriment. They got to learn to heal something. They got to learn to heal something. So I hope that helps. If you resonated with that code name, Starshine, totally going into another level, okay? Totally another level. You'll meet your match when you meet another crone energy. You will meet another crone energy, and you'll realize how your light and shadows interchangeably play off of each other, so that you're never just one or the other in the dynamic, but it's flowing and it's healthy. It's honesty and receptivity and being able to be considerate because you appreciate the fact that they are just like you. They're not going to tolerate your shadows, and you're not going to tolerate theirs either. And you're both going to allow the appreciation of each other's lights that shines on each other's shadows. Understanding that this person is there to serve you and not hurt you, right? Serving you to remember your light in dark situations. Trust me, you'll meet that person. I have. I have. All right. With that, moving on. The next code name is Eternal Gratitude. We are going to start it at the 46-minute and 26-second mark. Let me see the comments. I can get it back up there. Good. I'm glad you leveled up. All right. So here we go. Eternal Gratitude. Codename Eternal Gratitude, and those who would resonate to this reading. What archetypal energy are you birthing into? And how do you need to understand it moving into it? Oh, this will be interesting. Shapeshifter and the Hunter. Quite a combination. The Shapeshifter and the Hunter. All right, here we go. Card number 15. The Shapeshifter. Here we go. The trickster, the elusive, the formless. The shapeshifter has a love of theater, games, and trickery. Its energy appears as one thing, only to reveal a more complex story below the surface. The shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the other side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. We need its energy to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of our existence. When the Shapeshifter card appears, it's important to imagine you are looking at life through a kaleidoscope rather than a single focus lens. At any moment, the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you imagined. Be wary, though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. Dancing long-term with the shapeshifter requires a central pillar of integrity that links us back to our center. The Hunter. We're going to call that the pillar. In the light, the shapeshifter is vibrant, adaptive, and humorous. In the shadow, it is a charlatan, people-pleasing, and trickery. Okay. With this as an archetypal energy to be aware of that you're moving into. This is about going with the flow and enjoying the moment. Being that chameleon, right? Being that social chameleon. You get along with the people at work, you get along with the people out to dinner, you get along with the people that you just met at the bar, you get along with the people that you're meeting through friends and other groups. You're just simply shifting and expanding your connections but not necessarily committing to any of them because you know there's something worth the wait. It's simply living through that non-committal, experimental, there are no rules right now energy. Knowing you are limitless, a limitless creator, and you are divinely in the right place at the right time for everybody that you come in contact with. Okay, there's a reason why you're morphing and shifting, right? The spirit, your higher spirit has you in all these different, many different faces. The hunter. This is why, right? The pillar. The seeker, the pursuer, and the predator. The hunter hunts. They're on a precise mission with an aim. To return home empty-handed would be to fail, which is not an option in the hunter's eyes. The archetype will journey far and wide seeking the prize that calls to its heart or stomach. Tales of bravery and feats of strength often result, creating a life full of adventure. The hunter is skillful, quick, decisive, and results-oriented, like the great hunter goddess Artemis, who carries her quiver upon her back. The hunter typically has a weapon of choice. When this card appears, it is critical that you ask 3 questions. What am I hunting? Why am I hunting it? And is the weapon I hold so tightly in my grip truly needed for the task at hand? You ever see those crazy dating movies? It's always the person that's unavailable, that everybody wants. The popular girl in high school or the cool kid. It's always them that everybody wants, but no one can have them. Because they are who they are. That's kind of like the chameleon, being the popular girl or the popular guy in school. Being that one that everybody wants, but that no one can have, because the hunter is specifically hunting someone. That popular girl or that popular guy always has their eyes on someone specific. And at the end of the day, that is the person they want to take to prom. The person they want to be with. But can't necessarily because they're in different social circles and different crowds or whatever, analogy. They have different things going on. One's dealing a lot with band practice and has strict parents and you know what I mean? Life is different for you and them. But knowing that that's what you want. So you're shifting around, you're having the experience, you're in the land of lawlessness, right? There is nothing against the rules except denying that you're hunting something and you're not going to settle for less than what you're after. You're not going to go home with a squirrel or a beaver when you want a mountain lion. And that's what you're after. You know what I mean? Not that I'm condoning the hunting of animals. I love animals. But you know what I mean? It's like you don't take your eye off the prize. You allow yourself to be. You allow yourself to enjoy. You allow yourself to take pictures and have fun and live a little. But you don't take your eye off the prize. Okay? You don't take your eye off the prize. What does this look like in the 3D, please, Spirit? Right? Failure is not an option. Become the unattainable. What does this look like? We got the Fool, new journey, new chapter. We got the 9 of Swords, having anxiety about it, starting new, starting fresh, getting out in the world, having fear of the new. Remember, you're keeping your eye on the prize. King of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Justice card. Top of the deck is the Nine of Pentacles. So when you are in this independence mode, which is a lot of what the Nine of Coin is, when you're in this independent mode, justice is the underlying energy, the divine. This is the bottom of the deck, so this is the underlying point of the message. It's bringing things into divine balance. When you're independent and doing your own thing and enjoying the beauty of life, and you can move forward despite the anxiety, right? Despite not knowing the greater vision, right? King of Swords, Aquarian energy. Despite not knowing the bigger vision, trusting that your independence and your unattainability is what makes you more valuable to those that would wish to attain you, right? It's like it's not it's not like you're trying to make anybody jealous. That is not the point, right? By going out and whatever. It's the fact of the matter that you are allowing yourself to experience whatever it is that you can experience, knowing that ultimately, by just enjoying the experiences, if the result were to be that someone does not like seeing you single and mingling, that would inherently come into balance on its own, right? The Justice card, that would come into balance on its own accord. We're not doing it because we're motivated to something other than its experience. Seeing the higher perspective of how the universe works when you simply allow yourself to shift and move on, but keep your goal in mind, right? Shape-shifting in the Hunter. What does Spirit want you to remember through this process? Detachment. Detach from the prize you're hunting. You can't hunt it if it knows you're hunting it. You can't hunt a deer if it knows you're there hunting it. It's going to get further and further away from the hunter that it knows is there hunting it. So you keep it in mind, but don't give your position away. You are releasing old patterns and ideas that no longer serve your highest ideals of love. You're not beholden to anyone, but you can plan accordingly. You know, this is like knowing you want to be with a specific person and understanding you can't be with that specific person at the moment. And so it's like, okay, I got to let them know, knowing that at the end of the day, they're the person I want to be with. And I'm going to simply just enjoy meeting people. I'm going to enjoy being a socialite and networking, right? And networking and getting into that energy, but not committing to anybody else because you know it would be against yourself and what you're actually after in this life to experience, whatever that specific is, okay? Letting go for the time being, knowing that it's not lost or gone. Knowing that it's not lost or gone. I hope that helps. Maintain your independence. It's like getting into the charm, you know, it's getting, you see, even with all the snake skin print on here, I think a snake is like a snake charmer. It's being charming. It's moving to the rhythm of the beat, right? The flow of the divine. And being okay with that. Being okay with that. All right. Next reading. Really, and your code name was Eternal Gratitude. I think you're going to really thank me later. All right, fireworks and flare, starting at the 59-minute mark, 29 seconds. Fireworks and flare. All right. Here we go. Codename Fireworks and Flare. And for those who would resonate or be drawn to this particular code name, what archetypal energy are you evolving into, and how do you need to be made aware of it? How do you need to understand it? What archetypal energy? The Castle. All right. Card number 43. This, as an archetype, the Castle, its energy is fortified, right? It's where you go when you cannot or do not want to be defeated, right? The Castle is supposed to be strong. It's supposed to be a safe haven. We've got a lot of heart chakra energy on the card. All right. The palace, the penthouse, the fortress. It's no wonder fairy tales tell of sleeping princesses within castle walls. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments, yet the walls are thick, cold, and shadowy. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home, or position that project the image of achievement, while the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. At times, we must, quote-unquote, settle down. Yet the castle lulls us with its spell of materialism, and we fall asleep to our deepest dreams. The castle can be a motivating force, an enchanting goal to travel toward, but it is not best to linger within its walls of decadent deception for too long. When it's in its light, you are visiting your throne of power, and in the darkness, there is stuckness, depression, and the spell of walls that you can't get out of, okay? So this is the archetypal energy you're birthing into. You're understanding that you have your safe space, you have your sacred space, you have the place that you go that you can detach and not care about the rest of the world. But there's that part, and saying that in yourself, right? There's a part of you that feels safe within yourself, within your patterns, because you're predictable. You know how things are going to go. You know how you're going to react. You might even know how you're going to fix it or solve it, right? After it happens again. But the fact of the matter is, you might not actually like that pattern, and you might want something more, and you might want to feel free, and you might not want to be beholden to that karmic cycle anymore. And you might want to get out of the safety net of what's familiar and try something or a dynamic that's completely different, right? That's completely different, and it's new, and you don't know how to respond. You don't know what to do. Your emotions might fluctuate and vary because you're no longer predictable to yourself, right? You're no longer predictable to yourself. You've left the thick walls that you've built that kept you safe for so long, right? You're allowing your walls to come down, so it's seeing the beauty of things that you haven't seen before, right? If you look at the eye on the framed on the card, you know, it's framed in pearls. It's got this eye with diamonds on the lashes. And the eye is closed. Okay, this isn't about seeing the beauty in what you've already created. This is seeing the beauty in something you haven't seen. This is getting out of childhood patterns. This is getting out of that wounding, right? This is getting away from your soul scars and getting into something different, beautifully different at that. Taking that risk, like Jasmine on Aladdin, you know, like you just kind of have to run with it, and finding that what you always wanted might be where you never looked. 4 of Cups, What else? Four of Cups is indicative of a missed opportunity. A spirit-given opportunity. And you know it. The High Priestess. And the Nine of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Three of Pentacles. A higher soul contract that you've agreed to, with the Strength card on top. Fortitude. I think you're trying to be really strong potentially in the walls that you've built for yourself, the safe space that you've built for yourself. I think you're trying to maintain strength there. But with the Three of Coin aiming up at this, it's almost like you were always destined to leave the castle, right? You were always destined to leave the castle. I think with the Four of Cups, the High Priestess, and the Nine of Swords, you might feel as though it's almost like the one that got away kind of energy. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be a job, you know, the job that got away, or the education that you let pass by, like something that got away, but you take it how it resonates for you. It's knowing that an experience that you wanted to have got away from you. And you can't necessarily feel complete with this contract you have to yourself to showcase your actual strength of spirit, that you can leave the safety of the castle walls and experience the world in a different way outside of the one that you've built. There's this almost like a cry for soul freedom, knowing you want to do it, you want to experience it, you don't just want life to redundantly pass you by. There's something that was missed. Something that was missed, even if it's a feeling that you never got to have. And maybe you say, well, no, I kind of did, or I did with this or that. And when really you might be deceiving yourself, keeping it a secret, that a part of you wanted more for yourself than what you created. So what needs to be remembered, Spirit, going through this transformation? Virtue. Acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourage others to grow. This is remembering the value of your ripple. When you love yourself enough to go after opportunities or feelings that you missed feeling, that you always wanted to feel, and you're not afraid to take that jump. Because when you look at things for face value, it's not what you want or where you want to be. It's not that it's unsatisfying on all levels, but 99% is not 100. Like there's a piece of the experience missing. And so this is knowing that when you go after that piece that's missing, that you don't settle for 99, that you go for 100, that you complete the drive for the experiences that you want to have with another, in a certain environment, whatever, that even if others are hurt, the healing of yourself is what's rippling, and the healing of others. And healing is not always easy. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure. Sometimes there's a lot of anxiety. Sometimes we're afraid of hurting other people. We're afraid of what they're going to do because we're doing what we want to do and they don't fucking know what the hell they're going to do, you know, because life just changed out of nowhere. And it's like, but that's okay. Hindsight's 2020, right? Hindsight's 2020. Remember the beauty of letting yourself heal. That it ripples, healing ripples, just like pain ripples, healing ripples. Self-love ripples. It teaches others how to love themselves. So I hope that helps when you break your walls down. Your safety zone, right? I hope that helps. Learn to embrace your freedom. Hold gratitude for what the castle walls taught you while you were there. Especially because they taught you not to stay in them. Comes a cold and lonely, shadowy place. All right. So, moving forward, next code name is Stay Wild Moonchild, and we are starting at the 1 hour, 11 minutes, and we'll do 11 seconds. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, so here we go. Stay Wild Moonchild. What archetypal energy are you rising into? And how do you need to understand it? How do you need to best understand it? The archetypal energy you're rebirthing into. Codename, Stay Wild Moonchild. The Maiden. We've got the Maiden. Card number 8. Here we go. The maiden, the virgin, the princess, the innocent. The maiden archetype is the epitome of innocent arousal, naive sensuality, and precarious purity. She is compelling and addictive because of her flawless and youthful glow. She's the first archetype in the trifecta of Maiden Mother Crone, and rightfully so, because she has oh so much to learn. The Maiden is perfectly positioned for trouble to come her way and subject her to a challenge that leads to the next phase of womanhood. She must grow up, yet hesitates at the threshold, enamored by the charms of youth. The maiden represents the side of us that is riveted and curious, drawn to shadowy forests, dark nights, with a K, and taking just one taste of poisonous fruit. Her magic is edgy and includes both shame and delight. Let yourself fall down the rabbit hole, young one. Let yourself fall down the rabbit hole. When in its light, the maiden is curious, enchanting, sensual, and full of vitality, liveliness. When dark, they pretend, project, deny, and fantasize. Okay, so if this is the energy that you're birthing into, okay, it's okay to be naive. It's okay to feel your own energy like that. But there is a threshold, right? There is something that needs to grow, and it's not about shying away from yourself. It's not about denying yourself. It's not about, well, what if, right? All the what ifs. It's more about, and then what? And then what? It's not a matter of what if. What if is going to happen no matter what it is. It's a matter of allowing yourself to go after something. Because you're just curious. You're just curious. You're just guided to figure it out. You don't know why. You're just being drawn in that direction. And to see what happens. Not, well, what if that happens or this happens or whatever. It's like, well, you don't know what anything's going to happen. You don't know anything that's going to happen. You haven't done it yet. So, time to go to the next phase. I mean, the Maiden, even being card number 8, it's about being in an infinite loop, right? It's about being in an infinite loop, the number 8. That's, you know, a cycle that needs to close. There's something karmic about it because there's a lesson that needs to be learned. Sometimes you got to take a jump. Sometimes you got to take a jump and play with the divine a little, right? It's just the kind of energy I'm getting. It's like playing with the divine a little and being open. Maybe you're young and don't have all the answers, you know? Maybe you're young and you don't have all the answers and you've got to mature a little bit in your experience. Got the Hierophant. Keep that one. Got the Ace of Cups. Give me one more. And the Knight of Wands. Really, I half feel like Spirit's telling me to go have fun with like the quote-unquote bad boy. We got Ace of Wands on the bottom with the Ten of Cups. This is knowing you want emotional fulfillment, knowing you need to get your soul spark fucking flared up in order to do that. This also a very phallic card, so I mean there could be a lot of pent up sexual or sensual energy that is creative energy that needs to be recognized and released. You might just want to go. You might just want to go have fun, like not have any expectations of what's going to happen next. Like it's going down the rabbit hole. It's like there are no expectations. There is no, well, when is the next time I'm going to hear from you or see you? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, it's a matter of, because even the Knight of Wands, I mean, it's coming out, the Hierophant, the Ace of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is a little reckless. He's a player-type personality. He's also a lot of genuine fun, right? It's genuinely just a lot of fun. Like, if you have pent-up energy that just needs to be released, then consider your energy sacred and it needs to be released, and don't hold any attachments outside of the one you have to yourself. Right? And honoring yourself, allowing experience to teach you something different. Allowing experience to teach you something different. It's almost like, it's almost like knowing you can have what you want for the night. You can be everything. That pure, innocent, glowing for a night. And you can be that the next day or not be that the next day, and you're not holding yourself to anything other than what feels good in that moment. Learning how to love yourself more. Not knowing how you're going to get to the end, but just knowing that it's a step in that direction. What does Spirit want you to remember? Right? And your code name was Stay Wild Moonchild. What does Spirit want you to remember? Trust and loyalty. Trust yourself. Hold loyalty to yourself. Right? You have a strong connection to your soul's loving voice and have faith in your intuition. Your reliability demonstrates your loving sense of devotion and consistency of being. When you're loyal to you and you trust you, that there's nothing in it for you outside of what you want to gain from a particular experience, and then you can let it go. The beauty of the fire, right? The beauty of the fire in the moment. Passion energy, sacral chakra energy. Really, 10 of Cups and Ace of Cups. This is knowing that new beginnings lead to completions. But you can't get to the completion if you don't first take the step towards the journey on the new beginning. You can't get to the 10 without first getting through the 1. And connecting yourself with that oneness energy. Your body's a divine instrument, okay? I'm going to tell you this. Your body's a divine instrument, and if it's requiring certain foods, certain nutrients, minerals, vitamins, you will crave certain things. If your body is craving sex, it's craving it for a reason. There is some kind of energy that needs to be unblocked and released, creatively speaking, because Kundalini energy, sexual energy, pent-up energy down there, it blocks our ability to manifest and be inspired by ourselves. So if you're sexually frustrated, it's your body telling you it has some serious creative energy that is being blocked, and to unblock it. And to unblock it. And don't feel bad about that. Don't judge yourself for that. We're human. Get past the artificial thinking in that. That would be that it's wrong to deny, what you want. Or that it's not right to go after what you want, right? Or to ease your physical needs. Calling a solid. Maybe all puns intended. Calling a solid from a friend. And have fun in the moment. Allow yourself to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Take the pressure off yourself. Let that energy release happen. Don't hold expectations for after, other than it's going to feel really good to unblock that energy. Truly. All right. So with that, we are moving into Violet Rays. Codename Violet Rays. The 1 hour, 23 minute mark, 14 seconds. Violet Rays. Codename Violet Rays. And those who would resonate to it. Spirit, what archetypal energy are they rebirthing into, and how do they best need to understand it? What is the archetypal energy they're birthing into? And what do they need to understand about it? We got the Vessel and Venom. The Vessel and Venom. You might want to watch V for Vendetta. I don't know why. I was thinking of the V words and I was like, V for Vendetta, and it popped into my head. So synchronicities would have it, right? Maybe there's a message in the movie's overall theme or characterizations that will matter. We got the Vessel and we got Venom. Cards number 69 and 63. If my Roman numerals don't deceive me. I got it. By George, I got it. The vessel, the body, the container, the cup. The vessel may be the most powerful archetypal form on earth. It is everywhere. Cups hold liquid, stoves hold fire, our bodies hold organs, our homes hold families. Through this simple act of separation, the vessel protects that what it contains. Nest, protect the eggs. Savings account, protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it is time to assess what is being quote-unquote held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full? Or perhaps there is no vessel at all and the contents spill in every direction. It is natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? You must find out. Okay, so instant feeling I got with this after reading that. I definitely think there's some kind of eggshell that you need to hatch out of. Okay, especially with the image on the card. It's a bowl, but it looks like the bottom of an eggshell. Okay. You're protecting yourself with something. It could be a label. It could be a social circle. It could be family. That's the vessel. But I'm also getting the imagery of the alchemist, right? Like the temperance card where they're pouring one cup into another cup. Like the liquid is safe traveling from one cup into another. Like it's safe between the vessels. Like it's okay to separate yourself in different ways even. I think it's also asking you to be grateful in the beauty of your own vessel, right? Your own body. The beauty in it. To experience the vessel, right? And then we got venom. So venom is the poison, the curse, and the toxin. Much to our dismay, the venom is always lurking in the shadows in one form or another. Its toxic presence may be found in our relationships, thoughts, speech, or environment. Thankfully, the cycle of purification and detoxification comes so naturally that it is built into our every exhale. We breathe out carbon monoxide, and the plants return it to us as oxygen. Archetypal venom is rarely remedied as easily, however, and it can come in potent forms and quantities that are deeply damaging to us and to the world. When the venom card appears, there is a harmful substance in your psychic realm that must be identified. Perhaps your words have a sting of poison about them. Perhaps a relationship is slowly draining your reserves. Acknowledgement is the first step. Change is the second. The remedy will reveal itself in time, and with it, forgiveness. Immediate thing I got was toxic relationship from the past that is hindering your ability to love and appreciate who you are. That you put yourself in underneath an umbrella of protection in some which way, shape, or form, and won't come out of it. It's almost like your excuse to stay in it. You need to address the fact that something poisoned your belief system about yourself and override that. Okay? Override that. Because I'm definitely getting like there is venom in your words, and I don't even think you realize it sometimes when you say things to others that might be interested in you, even that there's a sting to your words. It's almost like a thoughtlessness, like, oh, it doesn't matter because they don't care about me, or they don't like me, or they're just this, or they're just that. It's no big deal. And but you don't actually know, you're assuming. And I think maybe a part of that was done with you in the past. Maybe someone looked at you the same way. Like, oh, there's no way they could love me. There's no way I'm this, I'm that. There's no way. And so they didn't care, and they stung you with their words, or they stung you with their actions because they acted like they didn't care, but you did. Maybe you cared a lot. And they just weren't receiving it. And so because you were so hurt by that, it's almost like you took on the same bite. It's almost like you took on the same bite. So what does this look like in the 3D, please, Spirit? How does this unfold? You know, it's almost like you've put yourself in this deep healing, right? This deep healing because of that wound. We got the Princess of Cups. There's whales on the card. Anytime I see whales, it's about the deep subconscious, the deep past, things that we've experienced in past lifetimes that we were destined to heal this time around because we didn't heal it the last one. It's been reoccurring. It's created a scar. Having to go with the flow, having to go with the grace of the divine as it brings you experience to help heal this, forgiving yourself for being your own brick wall, so to speak, not realizing it because you took someone else's pain and made it your own a long time ago. And you don't realize how maybe it's still affecting you. It's got to come up to the surface. Yeah, then you'll be able to start new love and create a solid foundation. All right, we got the Two of Wands on the bottom. So this is the threshold. The underlying energy is making it through the threshold, the choice of spirit. And the Princess of Wands, which is completely reinventing the self, and you know it. There is a part of the self, a part of this spirit, right, Wands energy, that needs its spark back, it needs its fire back, it needs its self-trust and the beauty in back. And you've got to maybe apologize to yourself with this Princess of Cups for not allowing new love in because you were too afraid to lose control, too afraid to let your guard down, too afraid to actually maybe even let someone that cares about you care about you, that you would snuff it out before it has a real chance to take off. It's almost like being a sarcastic, funny person when it's almost out of place to be that, based on the feelings of someone else, where they're looking at you like, don't you see how much I want to care about you? It's almost like the vibe of like, don't you see? And you're so dismissive all the time, like it starts to hurt. It starts to hurt them after a while because you don't see them. The ones that are actually worth your time. Because it's a part of your own, it's a part of your own protection, it's your own shell. You don't want to give anybody the love that you have, because to give that kind of love and get hurt hurts. So I think you might be hurting people first, all right, and not necessarily realizing that you're doing that. Right, subconscious. All right, so what do you need to remember, please, Spirit? For code name Violet Rays. What does Spirit want you to remember as you go through this detox? Friendliness. You're able to recognize traits in common with another in order to forge love-based connections. I think, and I know it's come up, this is like friend zoning people, or friend zoning yourself. Making sure you're always only the friend, because you don't actually want to see the challenge of doing more. It's almost like being afraid to come out of the pre-dating zone. It's like being afraid that you're going to be awkward on a date, so you don't go on a date kind of thing. It's like pre-dating. You've friend zoned yourself. It's like you would say to somebody, oh yeah, well, I'm a great friend, but nobody would actually want to like stick around. When you're like, well, no one ever does stick around. Well, it's like, well, why though? Maybe you friend zone yourself. Maybe you're your own cockblock. You know what I mean? Really pay attention to your words. Really pay attention to your words, and not just what you speak to others, but how you speak about yourself or put yourself down. Especially, oh no, it's not important. When someone genuinely cares, don't say it's not important. You are, or it is, because it's you, right? Just be aware. Be aware of your words, and that you're not using them to subconsciously protect yourself from experiencing something that you're afraid of just because it's unknown to you. Or because you were so scarred by the venom of someone else that you don't realize that you're still afraid of it, right? Even if it's been a while. Really find forgiveness there, right? That Princess of Cups. For the fear that you took from that. All right. So Sunlit Creek. Moving on, codename Sunlit Creek. We are at the 1 hour, 38 minute mark. 18 seconds. All right, Sunlit Creek. Yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Sunlit Creek. All right, Spirit, please. For code name Sunlit Creek and those who would be drawn or resonate to this code name. What archetypal energy are they birthing into? What do they need to understand the most about it? What archetypal energy are they moving into, and what do they need to understand about it? Codename Sunlit Creek. The Judge. The Judge. I believe that's card number 14. Here we go. The Judge, the Critic, the Diplomat, the Advocate. The Judge has an incredibly important job. They work every waking hour of every day, helping us discern what is safe, true, and just. When this archetype remains unconscious or is captivated by fear, wise discernment turns into painful judgment of the self and others. Ironically, the judge's energy can be the seed of racism, bigotry, and fear-mongering. This is the judge out of balance, building walls, separating from others. When this same discerning force is made conscious and healed, however, the judge may be found advocating for civil rights causes, standing up for the underdog, providing resources for those in need, and forgiving again and again. Love is the deciding factor. Awakening this archetype is essential for the complex times we are in. Get your judge in order. The world needs it. When light, discernment, advocacy, right action, and compassion, and when dark, critical, punishing, unforgiving, and wall building. Okay, when we judge others, and it's not satisfactory, when we judge ourselves, and it's unsatisfactory when we take that pain on ourselves, you're moving into an energy where you have to have compassion for yourself and all others. And it's kind of like that analogy of no matter how much you know a person, no matter how long you've known a person, sorry, my nose is going crazy, you have never witnessed someone else's life through their two eyes from start to finish. You have never heard every single word that was ever spoken to them. You have never seen every single thing they have ever seen when they were a kid, when they were in school, at home, what they thought in their mind about a person. You do not see or understand the world from anybody else's view perfectly except your own. And you don't even fully understand the ramifications of everything that you have seen and you have heard and you've witnessed and felt through in your life and how it's had an effect on you and what you create in your current present day moment. Do not judge yourself for falling short on anything. And do not judge others for falling short on anything. For as much as we understand, there is 10 times more that we don't. And the best thing you can do is hold compassion and communicate things to try and understand the best you can when you know there's no way you can go back and see or hear what they've witnessed and felt and experienced. You'll never be able to go back and relive it from their perspective in order to fully understand it. But you need to be aware. You need to be aware and hold that space, right? So how does this look in the 3D, please, Spirit, for the Sunlit Creek? How does this transformation look? The Lovers, the Chariot. Give me one more. And the Two of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the Hermit. Top of the deck is the Knight of Swords. I think you have a lot to say. I think you have a lot you want to communicate, but I think there's a lot of inner searching that needs to be done as to why. You need to choose to move forward beyond your own thresholds. Okay, with the Lovers, the Chariot, and the Two of Wands. Not judging yourself for choosing to move forward beyond that threshold, to do the inner work and really understand your own experience and why you've manifested the experience that you have now. Not being attached to the people in the courtroom, you know what I mean, that are standing trial in the judgment of your experience. but laying down the law, right? Laying down the law. If something was acceptable or not acceptable, like for your own energy, it's not judging the person, it's simply stating, okay, this cannot occur anymore. This is not acceptable anymore, right? It's not even threatening, it's not an ultimatum, it's can be perceived that way. But it's getting to that moment with yourself that you can't continue judging yourself a certain way and allowing other people's pain bodies to quote unquote judge you in a certain way, especially if that's just how you're perceiving it. This goes for people older than you, goes for people younger than you, it doesn't matter, because the age of the body is nothing compared to the experience of the soul. And just because you're old does not mean you're wise, okay? Just because you're old doesn't mean you're wise. You can be old and have made the same mistakes for 50 fucking years. How wise is that, right? Understand that. You've got to choose to be in your own wisdom and move beyond the threshold, to choose to move forward, to choose not to stagnate within yourself. Because you can't judge yourself. You can't be so hard on yourself. Stand in your integrity. That's your remember word. It's my favorite fucking word. Our integrity is everything. It says, demonstrate the truth and honesty of your soul and manifest love with your every action. When you don't judge yourself and you do what you need to do for yourself, you express what you need to express. From that inward place of self-understanding. It doesn't matter if you understand another completely or not. You understand you. You know what is okay for you and what works for you, and you need to hold compassion for yourself. You might be holding it for another, thinking you don't want to hurt another, or you don't want this for another because they've experienced this or experienced that. You don't know what they've experienced. You don't know why they keep experiencing it, especially if you're tempted to do the same thing. There's a reason they have to go through that pattern and break it. Okay, so you don't judge yourself on how you handle your truth. You just hold yourself responsible for how you express the truth, right? Stay true to your integrity. This is major, right? 2 major arcanas, the Lovers and the Chariot. It's your choice whether or not you want to cut your chains and move forward, or if you want to be anchored down to the same stuff. Because you're maybe even judging and excusing a person's past too much, instead of holding them responsible for breaking it. Catering to it, right? Because you have a certain judgment that's not serving your highest good or theirs, even if you think it is. Okay? So I hope that helps. Yeah, I hope that helps. All right. Moving forward. Secret code name is Below the Speakers. All right, Below the Speakers. Spirit, please. Let's see, we're going to do, it's the 1 hour and 49 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, Below the Speakers. Spirit, what archetypal energy are they birthing themselves into, and what do they need to understand about it? What do they need to understand about it? The Orphan. Card number 5. The Orphan. All right. Here we go. The orphan, the wounded child, the abandoned, the beggar. To study the orphan is to study the deep and challenging energy of our time. We are ever more connected, yet face collective isolation. The refugee crisis haunts our planet. Children are separated from parents, and the earth begs for our attention. We're in a time of universal orphanage, of nature, of each other, of our own hearts. Take refuge in the fact that we all share this core wound and dilemma. It is normal to fear this card, as it haunts the caverns of the soul. When it appears, take time, real time, to be in the presence of the feelings this card stirs in you. Let it humble you. What are you starving for? What is the deepest gift you could imagine giving to others? What has been rejected is quite possibly what is most needed, dear one. In the light, it is deep solace, deep acceptance, and deep love. When dark, it is distanced, it quote-unquote hates and avoids, controlling and limiting. With the orphan being the card you're being born into. Anything that you could say that you can't stand it, or you avoid it at all costs. There's a trigger wound in here that on some level you felt abandoned or felt like you were begging that energy. To love you, right? And this is coming to that deep understanding that the reason why you were manifesting experiences like that, where you would have those reactions to other people, is because a part of you maybe abandoned the thought that you were lovable to begin with, and maybe it started from a very early time in your childhood, right? The wounded child that felt abandoned, like they needed to beg for love. It's not that you were necessarily wrong in who you wanted to love you. It's the fact that you had to go through this lesson and find its light. Rebirthing into the light of the orphanage, the orphan that loves themselves, that doesn't abandon themselves and their own truth and what they know is their healing. It's what they deserve. To be loved and nurtured. And you could say it out loud. It's really facing the deep inner feeling, though, that might be the subconscious reason why it's continuous. Feeling like you are grasping for something you can't hold. What does this look like? Spirit, please. Blow the speakers. Justice, Two of Wands. What else? The Chariot, the Ace of Swords, and the Six of Wands. Libra and Cancerian energy. Also Venus, Venusian energy, and Saturn energy. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Cups. This is abandonment, right? Dealing with abandonment wounds. That is the underlying issue with this archetypal energy, dealing with the abandonment wounds. This is Lilith energy. And the Sun on top. You might feel light. You might feel like you're on the right path. You might feel like you're shining and you know yourself. And the fact of the matter is, it's the abandonment issue that you're avoiding actually seeing. It needs to come into balance. There's a threshold that has to be crossed. And I'm getting that, drawing a line in the sand that you might need to cross now. Like you drew it as your own subconscious border. I will not cross these lines because what I deserve is on the other side, and I'm afraid of it. I never had it before. I never experienced it like that. I don't know what it would be like to lose it and be orphaned again, right? The fear energy. So you drew a line that you will not cross, but it keeps you from getting everything on the other side that you actually deserve. When it comes to the Chariot, the Ace of Swords, and the Six of Wands, the divine moving you forward with the truth is your victory. Okay. You're being divinely stuck for a reason, and it is to balance this energy. You can't move forward until you get a win with your truth. Until you let go of the abandonment and heal it with the light of you. With the light of you. What do you need to remember? What do you need to remember? Discernment. Discernment. Developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion. If you're not in danger, if you know you're not in danger, you're not in danger crossing that line you drew. You might be in fear, which you can override, but you're not in danger. The truth is what you want is on the other side, and the illusion is thinking you're safe on this one. Think you're satisfied and can make it work without facing this energy. Crossing the threshold, balancing the scales, divinely moving forward in a huge way, embracing the self-nurturing Cancerian energy that the Chariot brings when you love yourself the most. That you do deserve it. You've got to do more for yourself and stop making excuses. Stop drawing lines in the sand that you don't want to cross. We can just make a list of things we don't want to do, or things we can't let go of. Whether it's in the physical, or it's mental, or emotional. We all have a list of things that we don't want to let go of. Sometimes we have to let them go. They're all lines that we've drawn in the sand, and sometimes they just need to be let go of. You need to love yourself so much that it doesn't matter what those things are that are you're holding on to, that are ultimately holding you back and holding you down. in your thinking, in your emoting, right? In your ability to create experience. Remove your limits. And get creative. Blossom a little bit. All right. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of it, though. Like, once you realize how deserving you were, that if you didn't go through the abandonment process, you wouldn't have learned your value the same way. That someone would not just receive you, but choose you, you know, because you think of the orphan archetype, they're given away, right? They're given away. But that's, even though that's the focus, they're also chosen. They're also chosen, you know? They have the opportunity to be chosen and to have that deservingness validated. There's beauty in that. There's beauty in that. All right. Moving on. Next reading, Rising from the Flames. We're going to start that at the 2 hour. 1 minute, 34 seconds. All right. Rising from the Flames. Spirit, please. Rising from the Flames. And those who would resonate to that secret code name. What archetypal energy are they birthing into, and how do they best need to understand it? The fault line. This was one of the first cards I ever pulled from this deck. Rising from the Flames, we got the fault line. Card number 49. Yeah. The fault line. Okay? 49. The fissure, the crack, the weak link. Imagine walking across a frozen lake that begins to crack before your eyes. No matter how optimistic and brave you might be, panic ensues. You become fearful and tense and long for stable ground. Such is the energy of the fault line. It's the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing what is ready to break open into chaos. It's likely this cracking open is overdue. As fault lines develop slowly and naturally from underlying elemental pressures. This card comes as a potent warning not to deny the shakiness that's afoot. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. There is no easy fix for the situation at hand. It will require a foundational shift that alters the current dynamics from the ground up. When light, it is redefining reality and breaking open. When dark, it is precarious, pretending, and delusion. Are you really safe where you stand, or is the ground too shaky to bank your life on? Think about that. If this is the energy you're birthing into, you need to redefine your reality. You need to create the environment or the dynamic that is solid for you, and not follow blindly or continue in faith on broken or shaky ground. Trusting that you know, like, and you sense that shakiness, and you're allowed to run. If the ground is about to give beneath you, you run. You run for solid ground where it's not gonna crack. I know, I'm lighting a cigarette. We're having a conversation. When we talk about trusting our senses, there's a reason why we can't deny what we intuitively know. We sense it, we talk about it in our mind, and we deny it there too. Something's got to open up. Something's got to break, whether it's you or another or multiple people. But you're not standing on solid ground. And so you need to aim for a direction that is solid for you, and not banking on the foundation you have found yourself on. Because you can feel it deep. You can feel the pressure. Hell, I could feel it in my body, channeling it. You might be getting a lot of pressure here in the head, like a lot of pressure, headaches, pressure headaches. Like your head feels heavy. Because there's a lot of things in here that need acknowledging. Okay? Spirit, take it a step further. What does this look like? What does this look like in the 3D? The healing of this energy. The Princess of Cups. Needing to forgive the self right off the bat for the deep soul scars that you're carrying. Coming from childhood. Having to choose. The Lover's card. Having to choose. In the universe. The cycles. The closing. Justice on the bottoms. Returning the scales to balance. With the Eight of Wands on the top, Spirit's talking to you and communicating to you. It's not your own voice in your own head, it's your higher spirit. You're already thinking about it, and you're already feeling it. And that's because Spirit is telling you that something needs to come into balance. The pressure building below the surface that's causing the break is what's out of balance. The pressure needs to be released so that things can situate and resettle and be broken open. And you're gonna owe yourself an apology at the end. You know, with the Princess of Cups card, you owe yourself an apology for viewing it in a way that was not serving you. It doesn't mean that it's going to break away completely, but it means it's breaking open. And there's a certain understanding that you have to have with yourself in closing a very specific cycle. Choosing not to continue that way, choosing not to stand on shaky ground, that standing on shaky ground is not acceptable. That you want something solid. You want solid ground to stand on. So why are you freezing on unstable ground and thinking it's safe or that you're okay or that you deserve it? Think about that. why you feel that need. What does Spirit want you to remember? This has to do with your Saturn placement, Gemini energy. Possibly where that scar comes from, that you think it's okay to stand on shaky ground and it's acceptable when it's not. It's a repeated cycle. Taurine energy, North Node energy, seeing the beauty of experience and the face value facts of what life is teaching you about relationships and dynamics. That you deserve something solid, not maybes. Spontaneity is the Remember card. Move beyond the constraints of the mind and freely and lovingly embrace new situations. Give yourself something solid. Let the rest fall into place in divine time. Give yourself the most stable footing, the most solid foundation to stand on, because you can't be shaken from it. Face the fact that you need something stable and something solid, and that you're allowed to ask the divine for that and have it. Have the idea of the image that you want to paint when it's complete, knowing that you're going to put the paint on the canvas in layers, building the image forward, right? You can make little corrections and tweaks along the way, but you're building something, and that building, that art is yourself. That's your experience, that's your life and your lessons and the beauty that it becomes in the end. Trust the breaking. Trust if it's not stable and you've got to go, then you have to go create stable and find stable somewhere. Yeah. Making you stable is priority. Putting you on solid ground is priority. And anything not in alignment with giving you stable and solid has got to go. Or it's going to crack open and make you run. So that you can establish that somewhere else. That's solid. All right? I hope that helps. You're rebuilding a solid self. Okay, so moving on. Next code name is Frog Spirit. Frog Spirit, so we're getting in at the 2 hour and 13-minute mark. 23 seconds. Okay. Frog Spirit. Codename Frog Spirit. And those who would resonate to or be drawn to this code name. What archetypal energy are you birthing into? And how do you best need to understand it? How do you best need to understand it? Codename Frog Spirit. What archetypal energy are they birthing into, and how do they need to best understand it? No, we're taking that one. Oh, the fault line. Again. So we're talking about shaky surface, right? We're talking about shaky ground and having to put yourself on solid ground. Because of the replay, I am going to read it again from the book. So this is card number 49. Let's read it again. Obviously, people viewing need to hear it twice, so here we go. The fissure, the crack, the weak link. Don't picture yourself as the weak link or the ugly duckling kind of thing either, right? You are not the weakest link. There is a part of the archetypal energy within the self that needs to be addressed in order to strengthen it, and it's the fact that you could pick up and move somewhere more solid. So, imagine walking across a frozen lake that begins to crack before your eyes. No matter how optimistic and brave you might be, panic ensues. You become fearful, intense, and long for stable ground. Such is the energy of the fault line. It's the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing what is ready to break open into chaos. It's likely this cracking open is overdue, as fault lines develop slowly and naturally from underlying elemental pressures. This card comes as a potent warning not to deny the shakiness that's afoot. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. There is no easy fix for the situation at hand. It will require a foundational shift that alters the current dynamics from the ground up. In its light, it's redefining reality and breaking open. And in darkness, it is precarious, pretending, and delusion. Don't pretend something is all right when you feel and sense it's not, and that it's only a matter of time before it breaks open, because if you're in denial of that, then it's going to break open. It's going to break open anyway. You were sensing it. But how you prepare for it is how you choose in advance to deal with it ahead of time. Knowing and planning for it. Not because you want it to happen. Most of the time we don't want the ground we found ourselves on to give way under us. We want to be optimistic. We want to hope for the best. But doing that when you feel it cracking underneath and you feel the pressure building, you're only allowing the shock of being wrong and denying yourself to hit you harder later. Temperance, the Fool. What else? And the Five of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords. Top of the deck is the Moon. You're dealing with shadows and you're dealing with illusions, denying what it is you're actually seeing and feeling for what you want to see and feel, because you're lying to yourself, robbing yourself of something. Okay, with the Seven of Swords, this is a thief, and this is of the self. So robbing yourself of an experience because of this illusion that everything is okay, when you already sense and feel it's not on some level. Knowing that things need to balance, know that alchemy takes time, know that there's steps to that healing, knowing that a leap of faith is required to end the internal conflict, the strife, the putting on the happy face but feeling the pressure, denying that it's there. And then being overly dramatic or surprised or upset when it's not all sunshines and rainbows like you were pretending it was, right? That you were imagining it to be. That if you just wished hard enough and pretended enough, that it would just magically stay or be that way when it's not, and that needs to be recognized. Definitely look up frog spirit animal totem medicine. It's an emotional healing. Choosing to unify yourself within. To not just be your best thinker and your best feeler, but your best doer when it comes to your sensing. To resolve your problems. Remember satisfaction. Life was meant to be enjoyed. Let the energy of love guide you to self-approval so that others no longer define who you are. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how anybody else remembers you. Whether they choose to admire you or vilify you. Whether they choose to acknowledge the beauty of the experience with you or the pain of the experience with you. All that really matters at the end is whether or not you sacrificed your stability within the self and what you wanted to achieve for the stability of someone else instead. How are you going to remember you when you look back on things? It doesn't matter how they remember you. It matters how you remember you. What you did for you, what you created for you, that you approved of yourself, and what you were doing and creating in your experience. Taking the leap of faith. Taking the steps to end the conflict you have in the soul that wants to experience stability, that wants to depend on yourself and the choices you make in your highest good. Not necessarily concerning other people. Because you could feel the pressure building and you want to go, but maybe somebody else doesn't want to go. They don't see the cracks. They don't feel the pressure. They're still in denial. They want to keep it the way it is. And then all of a sudden the earth opens up. And it's the person standing there that falls into the crack. It's not the person that ran and knew and felt the pressure coming and knew it was chaos coming and disaster coming and got out of there before it got ugly. You don't need to be there when it gets ugly. You can just know that ugly is coming because you sense it and there's no denying it. And you deserve better than having to deal with the ugly, right? And maybe they do too, and they just don't realize that you're helping them dodge a bullet. A much more painful collapse in, later. Balance comes in when you take that leap of faith on yourself. Okay? Moving forward. Next secret code name, we got 2 left. All right, we got 2 left. This one is Don't Fear the Reaper. Totally got pinged for the song. So if you're inclined to look it up, I suggest looking it up. We're going to start at the 2-hour, 23-minute mark in 43 seconds. All right. Don't Fear the Reaper. Codename Don't Fear the Reaper. And for those who are drawn to it, Spirit, please, what archetypal energy are they birthing into? That's too many. What archetypal energy are they birthing into, and how do they best need to understand it? It's too many. Give me one. Draw me to one. What archetypal energy are they birthing into, and how do they best need to understand it? All right, we got the River, card number 34, and the 1, card number 30. So you might be getting 3-4-3 synchronicities. All right, the River. Starting there. Here we go. The river. The stream, the flow, the current. There is a reason so many rituals of change and rebirth take place in the river. It is forgiveness embodied in physical form. Without asking anything in return, the river washes away what is no longer necessary, smoothing over sharp edges and accepting all of our mistakes and grievances. Once we step in, we are no longer in control. The river carries us further down the stream of transformation than we planned to go. Its waters have a special gift for reflecting back to us a new and dreamlike vision. Once the tears have passed, we see ourselves as we haven't before, with a little more lightness, grace, and fluidity. Keep in mind, the you that stands within the river is the real you, full of deep emotion and potential, nothing to hide, nothing to judge. May you drink in the sight of your true self from the river. When light, it is acceptance, grace, reflection, and forgiveness. And when dark, it is the torment of emotions, flooding, and overwhelm. Okay. So getting into this with the river being the archetypal energy that, light of it that you're mastering, you're allowing spirit, your higher self, your spirit, to remove things that are not serving you, to wash it clean, right? To be in that divine flow, to go with the flow, not trying to hold on to anything and keep yourself there or keep it there, but to allow yourself to continue to flow. And if the current picks its pace up and brings whatever was left back there up to you, great. And if it doesn't and it falls behind and catches up with you later at the end, great. It's a matter of being really aware of the process you're going through, the cleansing that you're going through, because it's vigorous. It's an emotional cleansing with the river. And knowing that allowing yourself to be overwhelmed or tormented by the things that hurt you or the people that don't understand you, that flood you, is what you're moving away from. Okay. When you're in the flow, living moment to moment, that's where you find yourself. That's your self-approval, living moment to moment, doing as you're guided, doing your fuck yeses and not your fuck nos, right? Allowing yourself to discover yourself clean in the flow. With the one is non-duality, one love, unus mundus. It's our ability to experience this archetype firsthand. Our ability to experience this archetype firsthand is limited. It comes in brief and potent moments that we are left to savor for a lifetime. The one is both the energy that unites all living beings and our capacity to sense this intimate union. This archetype eludes us most of our lives, appearing as a concept in a distant galaxy. Yet, when we're in the midst of its power, a solemn reverence falls across all the land. We glimpse ourselves in the vastness of consciousness and are neither small nor large within the field. We are neither important nor unimportant. All duality fades away and we are left with what is, the precious knowing that life is a gift, and we are both the giver and the receiver of this fortune. When light, it serves, loves, accepts, and resonates. When dark, it ignores, omits, and excludes. You're becoming one with the flow, living moment to moment, resonation to resonation, discernment through discernment. You're being challenged with this energy to find the true meaning of what your highest self creates when you listen to the resonations. When you allow yourself to take the brakes off, to take the need to digest off, not to overanalyze experience, but appreciate experience as it's flowing, whatever that pace is. Sometimes the river flows calm. It's very still. It moves very slowly. And other times you are in the rapids and you are flying with the current, right? It's allowing life to slow you down and speed you up. Divine delays, beautiful breaks, allowing yourself to see where it takes you at whatever pace it is giving you, knowing that there are no mistakes and the river flows in a very specific way for a very specific reason. Understanding that you are now of such an awareness of self in the journey that life's not happening to you anymore, it's happening for you, and therefore all experiences are welcomed, no matter what they are. Knowing that there is a reason why you were there in those moments, whether you understand it in the moment or if you'll understand it later. You are a medium for the divine to work through now in the healing of all the different facets of ourselves manifest. People who cross your path will cross your path for a reason. Likewise, people that come into your path are in your path for you for a reason. And it's to get you to the end. Whatever that end game is in experience. Keep an eye out, again, for number 343. That's your ascended masters and your archangels helping you through divine miracle and the completion of cycles. I feel like you're going to be opening and completing many different connections. And there's a rhyme and a reason why you're being guided to speak in a certain way or guided not to answer in a certain way. Like you're being guided to do whatever it is you're being guided to do or not do, say or not say, for a reason. Yeah, this is your King of Wands. This is mastering your soul, mastering your spirit, energy, courage of a lion. 9 of Wands in the reverse. Not being at your last leg, but almost calling experience forward. 3 of Pentacles is what you've contracted yourself to do, to be that free-flowing spirit. Knight of Cups is on the bottom. The Lover's card is on the top. I think your choices now to express your self-love now, whatever that self-love is, that truth, right? Whoever is the recipient of your truth, whether it's truth they want to hear or don't want to hear, it doesn't matter. You're a divine instrument of healing now in your awareness of self. You're mastering your spirit. You're mastering that understanding of who you are and your role in the greater good, the ripple. There's a reason why you wear thorns, right? There's a reason why a rose has thorns. It's to protect itself. There's a reason why you have certain guards up. There's a reason why you will take certain guards down, depending on the moment, depending on where you're at and how you're resonating and trusting it. trusting that you're not wrong in your resonance, and you will see why. Choosing to extend the self-love out in that form of truth in all of your experience. What do they need to remember? Yeah, don't be afraid of cutting people off. Don't be afraid of people cutting you off, right? Code name, don't fear the Reaper. If something's got to end and it's just that time, it's that time. That's okay. Sometimes relationship dynamics are quick. Sometimes they last a long time. But whether they're in your life for a day, an hour, or a decade, or half your lifetime, when it's their time to go, or your time to go, it's just that time. Go with the flow. Go with the oneness that is healing, that ripple. You don't have to know how it makes sense now. You just have to understand it will make sense to you in hindsight. Gratitude. Remember, you fully appreciate the invaluable lessons that life lovingly presents to you. Hold gratitude for all the experiences you've had and for all the experiences you have yet to create, and all the lessons that you will learn and all the lessons you will teach, whether you realize it or not. Be grateful for something every day. Be grateful for yourself every day. Your ability to flow every day. Your connectedness to the one that understands duality is not really a duality, but a consistent flow of what just simply is resonance, right? Gratitude. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Yeah, you're birthing into free flow. Trust me when I tell you, free flow, I've done it. It is fucking awesome. to the point that I still live in free flow, moment to moment, resonance to resonance. It's the only way to be connected to yourself, is to live resonance to resonance. Whatever that is. Process the emotions as they come up, but understand that your resonance trumps your emotion and your mind every time. Your resonance trumps what you feel and what you think every time. Because there's a reason why you're resonating a certain way, despite your best thinking or your worst feelings, and vice versa. Okay. So last one, codename Skylark. This is the 2-hour, 37-minute mark. We'll do 38 on the dot. All right, so codename Skylark. Here we go. Last one, guys. Last one. Codename Skylark, and those who would resonate to this message. Who would resonate or be drawn to this code name. Skylark. Nope, not taken. Okay. All right, Spirit, please. We'll see if this card comes out again. All right. What energy, what archetypal energy are they birthing into, and how do they best need to understand it? What archetypal energy are they rebirthing into? And how do they best need to understand it? All right. So we got the bridge, card number 38, breaking down to 11, and the mother, card number 1. All right, so 11, 1, 38, 1. The bridge and the mother. Starting with card number 38. The bridge, the connection, the link, the gate. Bridges are built to connect two worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, and personalities. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes, rather than withdrawing, separating, and saying no. When we cross a bridge to an unknown land, we are led magically into a new reality. We open up to the otherness. Healing and communication are made possible. We enter a state of curiosity, wonder, and learning. The shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. This card asks us to study the connections between the seemingly disconnected parts of our life, relationships, ideologies, and histories. Remember that a bridge can't be forced. It must be made with love, or its structure will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. In its light, it is acceptance, magic, and communication. In its darkness, it is lacking boundaries and forcing connections. And it comes out with the mother. All right, now the mother's an interesting archetype, and I'm going to read it for you. It's the first one in the book. The mother, the great mother, the feminine, the source. We begin our archetypal story with the mother's love. Through her sensual, fertile, and life-giving energy, all creation takes form. Regardless of our birth story, each of our hearts beats for the first time in the warm womb of the mother, where she offered resources from her body for the building of our own. Yet her tale is not so simple, as the mother, especially on the earthly plane, contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. With the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she is meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives yet clings. She creates yet restricts. Amid the complex energy, the mother holds the key to the eternal challenge of love. In light, they are glowing, generative, creative, and nurturing. When dark, they are dim, exhausted, controlling, and limiting. You're being asked, with the bridge, the magic of communication, to embody the light of the mother energy, which is glowing, generative, creative, and nurturing. Not clinging and controlling and stifling growth. And maybe there's forgiveness here. Maybe there's a bridge of understanding that you need to have with your mother, who, as much as she loved you and gave birth to you and did all of these things to nurture you, she didn't know how to stop doing that. She didn't know how to have you stop being her baby. She didn't necessarily ever really want to see you leave. She grew to love you a whole lot. And they have their own light and their own shadows. They have their own healing. They have their own childhood wounding. And I think you're being asked to create something beautiful. I think you're being asked to give that nurturance in such a special way that you create connection with people. That ability to put that love out there, to nurture the growth of your baby or the children of the world or your purpose, right? Whatever it is that you're birthing into the reality that you're creating for yourself, that you would nurture and extend that love to it. And at the same time, know that the people that connect with you, those bridges that are formed, some might stay open to free flow, some might burn, some might, open and never go back, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is that you're creating, put that overflow energy, that nurturing, loving energy out there to promote the growth in other people, but don't get so attached to their process that their success or failure determines your own success or failure. Let me say that again. Do not get so attached to the success or the failure of someone else that your own success or failure is riding on theirs. Our parents are not successes or failures because we are successful or if we're a failure. That goes for our connections with other people too. Just like we as parents are not a success or a failure as a parent based on the success or failure of our children. All of our children as adults have made their own choices. And you can teach them all of the best stuff with all of the best love, and your child can be a fucking nightmare, even as an adult. It doesn't reflect on you. And we have to let it go. That goes with our friends, that goes with our relationship partners, that goes with people that we take under our wing at work. Like, maybe the job, no matter how much you have taught them and gave them the best training, it's just not the job that's screaming to their soul to continue doing, and they're not happy, and so they quit. And you've been trying to get them to succeed, get them to stick it out, get them to stay, and at the end of the day, they're just not fucking happy. You didn't fail anybody. You gave them the best nurturance that you could give them. They just had to go on their separate way at that time. There's no failure there. You succeeded in being your best self, and that's all that you can do, and feel successful in that, knowing that however anybody takes it, it's for their highest good in the long run, no matter what that looks like. Create those beautiful connections. Be that nurturer, and then let it go. Don't be attached to the success or failure of it beyond it. Got the 5 of Wands. This is how it's unfolding. The 2 of Swords. Being conflicted internally about cutting things off, putting on false faces, having to make a choice. And the Moon. The beauty is, with these energies, being internally conflicted, feeling like you have to put on a face, like you're not going through things when you are, or trying to be strong, right? Like the mother energy tries to be strong for her children. Those that she's teaching, those that she's nurturing, trying to be strong, because you can't look weak. You can't look like you don't have it together. No, you're not supposed to look like you have it together. You're supposed to look like you're healing, as we all are. Teaching. It's okay to be conflicted and cut certain things off and to end certain things and to feel like you can't continue, because to stay in it would be the illusion. Understand what your moon placement is in your natal chart, because if you don't, the moon aspect is the part of ourselves that we have the hardest time embracing in its light. We have the hardest time embracing it in our light. And when we're faced with our karma and we're faced with the divine order of things, our Saturnian energy, it's our moon energy, when we embrace it, that gets us into our rising. Skylark is a powerful totem animal. I remember looking it up when I got the download for the code name. Sometimes you just gotta cut them loose and let them fly. They can't stay in the nest forever. They can't stay in the comfort of your teachings forever. If you continue to teach a student too long, you become the student. You get schooled by the student, and the student becomes the teacher, that you can't hold on to something you're not meant to hold on to. Your success or failure is not based off of mine. When the teacher holds on to the student too long trying to teach, the teacher becomes the student. Okay. Be aware of that dynamic. children rebel. All metaphorical, right? Take it how it resonates for you. Ooh. That chunk back. And respect is the remember, okay? Value everyone's unique perspective on the path to love. People disagree with you sometimes. People don't see things your way sometimes. They have their own unique perspective of relationships and how life's supposed to be and what is right and what is wrong and what is success and what is failure. And you can respect that their opinion is different than yours. It doesn't have to change your opinion. Respect your opinion enough to resonate to it and know that that's your truth and your understanding in that moment until something gives you good reason to shift it. Because you respect all opinions and perspectives. You give them fair weight, fair chance to resonate or not. Yeah, that resonates. I think I'll adopt that as part of my own philosophy, my own perspective, and no, that doesn't resonate. I'm not going to go there. It's not going to become a part of what or who I am. Respectfully, that works for you. It's not going to work for me, though. Or you know what, that could work better for me. I appreciate it because you know what, this perspective I was holding wasn't serving me anymore. That makes more sense here. I'm going to do that. Give everything fair shot. Allow the bridges to connect. And when it's time to let them go, let them go. You're a divine teacher. Don't be schooled. All right, not if you can help it. So, I hope that helps. I hope you guys enjoyed the Rebirthing of the Self readings. The decks that I used, again, were the Wild Unknown archetype cards by Kim Kranz, my Hermetic Tarot, and my Power of Love deck by James Van Praagh. All right? Until next time, guys, I love you all. I love you all, and I hope all of the messages in here tonight really help you understand where you're going and what you're creating and what you're being challenged with and how to best understand it so that you can excel through these stages of masteries, because with all the archetypes in this deck, we master all of them in one lifetime or another. And these are the ones that we're going through and mastering right now. And Scorpio full moon, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, no doubt. And you know what? Challenge accepted. We rise to the challenge because what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and there's nothing killing us here in the healing. So, with that being said, I'm here. You guys can find me, as always, on Facebook. I post on Instagram, and I post in the community board on the channel every day with the cosmic currencies, which I'll be getting into after I wrap this up. I'll be getting into cosmic currency for tomorrow. And, yeah, until next time, guys. Divine Rebel Racey signing off. Remember always to love each other. And most importantly, love yourself. Bye, everybody.